All right, guys, we're going to get started. We are going to get rolling. There's just like a half a dozen more people or less. Shh. Thank you. Yes, come right on in, guys. All right, we're going to get started. All right, is that okay? Just tell me when you're ready back there, Gabe, also. Don't worry. I've had COVID and my vaccines. I'm just coughing. My first little joke. All right, but if you haven't, that's okay. It's freedom. All right, so I'm glad to see you guys. And can everybody hear me in the back? Yes? Okay, good. Just want to make sure. Chuck was my first selfie of the morning, so thank you for that, Chuck. Glover, wave for your hand. Everybody should meet Chuck and get to know him. All right, so let's kick this off officially right now. Welcome to Dealmaker 2022. Here we go. All right. So it's hard to believe. I was thinking about it because it was 2 years ago this month we did Dealmaker 2020. And then a few weeks later, life changed on a dime. Like literally, like we're all just like this. Not quite this full, but almost. And then like 2 weeks later, we're all in mass social distancing, shelter in place. Remember that? And real estate in Pennsylvania and other places was even non-essential. Is that true? Where's Kevin Femley? Non-essential in Pennsylvania, right? And everything changed. And here we are 2 years later, and a lot is changing really fast. Would you guys agree? We have inflation through the roof and higher than actually being reported. The dollar is becoming, devalued a little bit. We have interest rates spiking. We have a war in Ukraine. And there's a lot going on. I was talking with Wendy Sweet, who's coming in a little while. And we were sharing, and we said there's no better place to figure out what to do next than this event. The people we need to connect the dots on what to do next are in this room. And that's why I'm excited to have you guys here at Dealmaker. I do want to give you guys my disclaimer. We do not sell securities. We do not give legal and tax advice during this event. We recommend you consult a licensed CPA or a lawyer. Quite a few good ones of both are in the room today, by the way. These materials are educational only, and we do not endorse people or investments in this room. Is that okay, Jeff Watson? All right, good. All right, so having said that, you're gonna have the opportunity to make deals. Some deals were made last night. That's what Dealmaker is about. And I'm not going to share the deal that was made last night. There's probably multiples. Because I know some groups were at Topgolf, some were at Mexican with me, others were at Maggiano's, and others were getting into this hotel at 1 a.m. So there's a big variety. But we thank you guys all. So who are the realtors in this group? How about the wholesalers? Woohoo! Bring me some deals. Flippers? Who likes flipping? It's good this year. How about note investors? People who like to make money with paper. Imagine that. Contractors? Any contractors? Dan, raise your hand. Appraisers? Corey, good to see you. Appraisers are important right now, right? Landlords? Anybody? All right, my favorite crew. I love being a landlord. Best job I've ever had. Property managers, Brian, all right, a bunch. Stephen Glover, there you are. How about lenders? All right, let's start with this, hands down. Private money lenders, okay? How about hard money lenders? It's a little bit different, right? Tom, Michael, Jake, Colorado, Jeff in Green Bay, Wisconsin. How about bank lenders, like you do DSCR or just regular bank money? Lindy, it's good to see you. All right, good. All right, and then finally, I just want to recognize our speakers. If you're speaking today or tomorrow and you're here, just stand up real quick. I got a bunch of them at my table. Actually, come up. Come on up with me real quick. I have a lot of gratitude for this crew right here. How about if you spoke at a previous deal maker and you're here? Come on up. We got a lot of people coming back that have spoken in the past that keep coming. Sponsors, come on up. Don't worry. Coughing in public is dangerous now. All right, really, I just want to tell you guys how grateful I am for you guys. Even just last night, sitting with Jeff and Ashley and the crew at Mexican was good. There were deals being made, and we all learned a lot. You guys spend a lot of time preparing for this crew. And you come here a long ways to get here. So I just want to tell you publicly how much I appreciate you. And we're going to do, you can go ahead and sit down. But everything we do at Dealmaker is with the foundation of gratitude. We want this whole event to be built on the bedrock of gratitude, okay? And so I've got a lot to be grateful for. You know, on the way here this morning, I was thinking about all the posts I saw yesterday on Facebook about you guys coming in from Texas, Florida, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Montana, Colorado, and it's very humbling. So I just want to say thank you. But then I had this second where I was on the way here this morning. I thought, you know who else is here? God is here. God is everywhere, always. And when I thought about that for a moment, it made me nervous too, right? And I had a really awesome text from somebody yesterday who was sort of wrestling with wealth building while being a man of faith. And I just want to share my perspective on that for 15 seconds spontaneously, okay? My perspective on that is that we are just managers of assets and managers of businesses. It's all God's anyways. So when you take that perspective and you figure out your why you need to do this and what you can do with the resources that God's provided to you, it all works out, okay? So I just want to share that up front. It's okay to be in the wealth building model if you're working for the creator of the universe who put the stars and the sun and the Grand Canyon and the sunrise and the sunset every day into motion. All right. Thanks for letting me do that. All right, so there's 3 different groups here today, and I want to go through the 3 groups. The first one is the beginner group, and I want to welcome you guys. This is a group that maybe hasn't done their first deal yet. You're in a good group. The best way you learn is by hanging out with people just like this, okay? It is the absolute, Jim Rohn was right that you become the average of the 5 people you're hanging out with. The people you're spending time with will determine your path, and this group is a good group to determine your path, okay? So if you're here, I just want to, Jeff Watson and I were talking about this last night. I talked to Daniel Clayman about this a couple days ago. And this is a go-getting group. So the go-getting counterbalance of this is do the right deals. Don't forget the fundamentals of your deals. Make sure they have cash flow. Make sure you build in equity. Make sure you know your numbers. Because as I shared a few minutes ago, things can change pretty quickly, right? This market is very forgiving for the last 8 or 10 years. And it won't always be this forgiving. So I also want you to know that you're in a good group to build your network. Your network is your what? All right, so if I say network, you guys say net worth. You ready? Network. One more time. Network. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to build networks. And so if you're in this beginning group, this is a good place to build relationships. You're going to learn how to buy houses direct from motivated sellers. You're going to learn to build relationships with people that can be private money lenders, relationships with realtors and wholesalers. By the way, I'm realtor friendly. I buy a lot of pocket listings from realtors. My son-in-law's a realtor. So I love all you guys that are realtors, just to put that out there. You guys do bring value. Also, I think it's good to take the long view, especially if you're young. Like, how many of you guys are 30 and younger? Raise your hand. You guys got it made. All right, how about 25 and younger? 20 and younger. How old? 18. Woo! All right. So take the long view. And if you're aging like the rest of us, all right, you can take the long view too, because it's about your legacy and leaving things behind that you don't need, okay? So we can all take the long view. I think it's good if you're just getting started to focus on eliminating your personal debt as well. That's just like my personal finance plug. If you have credit card debt, card payments, things like that, get rid of them. And if you're aspiring and doing deals and things, start working on your own mortgage as well. I don't know anybody who's paid off their own house that regretted it, okay? I sure don't. Live below your means, okay? Really important. Do the work. Find the right deal. Build the relationships. Now, yes, I was talking with Rich about that whole topic the other day too. So I appreciate you guys that were pushing me on that a little. All right, so the next group is the wealth building group. Okay, so you're starting to build some assets. The assets are beginning to create cash flow, which is a wonderful thing. You've got this group here, I'm gonna have like 3 or 4 things for every group, okay? This group here, I want to encourage you guys to keep your rents close to market. Rents are up 14% nationwide year to date. I got that stat from Lindy, right, Lindy? Lindy does our Inner Circle economic updates every week. And so as you do your lease renewals, bump them a little bit. You've got to be able to keep pace with inflation. Inflation is going up very, very fast. If you're in this group too, I want to remind you guys of what happened 2 years ago. That's why I said that a minute ago. You remember how many businesses went out because they didn't have any cash reserves? Don't forget that, okay? Build your cash reserves. Lock in your rates. It's really important. If you're just starting, you know, you might be running a little later than if you had started a couple of months ago when you should have. But the rate you get today is probably going to be better than the one you get 60 days from now. Get those locked in. You guys with commercial loans, take a look at when your renewal dates are. I did. I've been doing it. And anything that's more than like 2 or 3, less than 2 years out, I'm going back to the banks this week. I've already been doing it. And ask them if we could renew a couple years early. And they are. And so all of a sudden we start over locked in at today's rate for 5 years or 7 instead of that 2. Because I would bet 2 years they're going to be higher than they are today. So watch your rates, this group. Keep your ego in check. You know, the Bible says pride goes before the fall, and it really does. So I just say that. Give and practice gratitude. Be a person that wants to be generous with your time, generous with your finances. Protect your assets. You know, start asking yourself, like, what is one thing, if you're in this group, that could totally wipe you out? Okay, you don't want to think about that, but that's a blind spot. And if you don't think something can wipe you out, you've got a blind spot you need to deal with, okay? Because it can. And invest in your IRA and make your contributions to your IRA. Grow that tax-free money as much as you can. All right, so the Freedom Group, okay? This is the crew that's been doing this for a while and building some wealth, okay? And you've got enough cash flow coming in that you can kind of live life on the terms that you want. The other groups are heading this direction, but you're there. We used to call this the undergroup. The undergroup sounded kind of dismal, especially as I get a little older. So now it's the Freedom Group, okay? I want to encourage you guys in the Freedom Group to enjoy your freedom. Enjoy it. Don't be afraid to spend a little bit on creating moments for your family and memories with your family. Build that legacy. I really believe the more you give, the more you receive. So give generously. When you go out to eat, give generously. If you find a good cause, give generously. If you have people in your family that are struggling a bit, give generously without expecting anything in return. And really focus on what matters the most, which includes being present with your families. I think it was Jason, we were talking about this earlier. He gave me a line, what was it, about your phone? Dad, put your phone down or something. You know, if you're in this group, be present. Be present with the people in your life that matter the most, okay? All the time. So we all have a different starting point. We're all in one of these three groups: beginner, wealth building, or freedom group, okay? And there's my few thoughts for each of you on that. Now, we've got a lot of disruptions in our marketplace right now. There's a lot of challenges, and I think we're going to be able to like sort all of these challenges out during the week, okay, the next few days. There's a lot of landlord regulations, right? Stephen Glover, raise your hand. Stephen's my go-to for Virginia landlord regulations. He's an amazing property manager. Love having him in Inner Circle as well. Lack of inventory, right? Not just lack of retail inventory, but lack of wholesale inventory, both, right? So that's a challenge, okay? It's a huge challenge. Escalating prices. You guys see that the price of houses is going up really quick, right? Increasing rents. Rents are really spiking. And lack of affordable housing in general. That's why I love seeing, like, where's Lisa right there? Focusing on tiny houses as the solution to affordable housing is a big thing. We have rising interest rates, we have inflation, we have supply chain disruptions. And by the way, everyone's really worried about gasoline prices, right? I mean, it went from like $3.89 when I had lunch with Rich at Chick-fil-A Thursday to $4.15 yesterday. It was really fast. Rich, I don't know where you went, but okay. So I got it at Wawa when I went to lunch with you for $3.89 and $4.15 yesterday. It's going up quick. Even worse than the gas you're putting in your car is going to be all of the supply chain that gets impacted by that. There's a lot of petroleum-based products we all use. Vinyl windows, vinyl siding, shingles. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's going to be impacted by that, let alone the disruptions, and let alone taxes, right? So we're going to talk through all of that. All right, so real quick, I've been trying to like piece together the history of Dealmaker, and I don't have it all perfect. But we did start, since people have been asking me, around 2012. And we did that with a small group of about 30 or 40 people. That's all we had. And I mean, look at this today, right? There's like 240 people almost in here. And the only person that's been to every one of those, of course, is Gavin. Raise your hand. Thank you, Gavin. The sort of turning point was, I remember 2013 when we did private money lending. We called it Private Lending Freedom. And then I really definitely remember the Ultimate Freedom Without Banks, where we said we don't need banks anymore. That was a really good event. And I'm just wondering, like, how many of you guys were here, like, more than 2 of these? Been with me to at least, thank you guys so much. It's really amazing. I love it. It's nice to have you guys back. And by the way, we're doing Elite Dealmaker in September. And I'm really confident that's going to sell out and go to a waiting list. Hey, those of you guys that got in right at the end, like on waiting list, thanks for your patience. We got as many in as we really could, as you can see. So what's your story? What is your story? How did you end up here today? How did we happen to meet? I got something I was going to read here. If I could find it. All right, Ellie Crock, where are you? Right here. Can you come up here with me? Do you mind doing this? So Ellie had an amazing post. It said a year ago she was hanging out on TikTok. I thought that was a clock, right? And go ahead and just kind of share your story on how you ended up here. Do you mind doing that?
No. Yeah, so let's see, it was July. I was watching the Olympics and wasting time on TikTok. I'm a millennial, not a Gen Z, so that's not my territory. But I found this really nice lady that was talking about building tiny homes on permanent foundations, because I sell real estate in the Atlanta area. I was looking to get into short-term rentals, and getting a traditional loan wasn't going to work for me. You know, I was going to maybe qualify for an A-frame that needed $50,000 worth of renovations. So I'm thinking, okay, I can buy a tiny home, put it on some land somewhere. But I quickly found out that the regulations weren't going to let me do that. So I'm searching #tiny homes, and I find Lisa. And Lisa has a great program, Teeny Homes USA, and I fell into her ClickFunnels website, which I was super impressed, because in real estate we try to use ClickFunnels, and I've never quite figured it out. So I thought, this lady's got to be insanely smart, because she's actually used ClickFunnels to her benefit. immediately sold me on the class that I bought. And about 24 hours later, I'm on the phone with her, and she gives me so much information, tells me about this group, Jim, meeting people that use private funds to invest. About a month later, I was here in this room with a lot of people, met Mike, closed on 2 acres. We are starting construction on Monday, so we've got 4 tiny homes coming in.
Do it. So there's a lot in that. Do you agree? About like taking action, building your network, focusing on relationships, getting rid of fear, right? Niching down. There's a lot in that. So that's that. When you posted that, it made me think like we all have a story. We all have some way that we ended up here. But that one like pulled a lot of those elements together. And you're gonna. I'm glad you mentioned that you bought Lisa's, because now Lisa and Mike are doing one together. They're doing like a mastermind that we'll get you guys information on. And I just want to say, like all of the speakers that come either have businesses or they have coaching, they have masterminds, and you're going to see like you're going to very soon experience a brand new launch on a mastermind. Later today, you're gonna have an opportunity to buy some things from speakers a little bit, and then again tomorrow. But it's very tempered. It's not high stress. Okay, but if you want to do that, I'm just giving you fair warning. Like be ready to take action, like Ellie did. Whatever it takes to get you from where you're at right now, whether you're in the beginner stage, the wealth building stage, or whether you're not an ender. If you're in the freedom group. Okay? Be ready and know what's next for yourself, okay?